All right. I think we are ready to begin. Pooja, who's the co-founder at Oneiro, she will be starting off the session, and once that, then we can proceed with everything. Hi, Pooja, you here?
Thank you, Arslan. Hi, Denny. Hi, Divya.
Hello, Pooja. Thank you so much for the invitation today. Look forward to sharing a lot of information with your attendees today.
Right, looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Right, it's time. So we can begin now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. We're really glad to have all of you with us right now. And we are going to now begin the discussion about employment trends in Canada. This discussion is going to be extremely important for all the candidates in the fall 2024 cycle. Everybody who's looking forward to go to college this year, go to university, and also everybody else who's at the end of their bachelor's or their master's. And, you know, right now you're in that stage where you're trying to figure out where is that job offer going to come from. So we can proceed, Arsalan.
Yeah.
Right. So in the past 1 year, especially in the context of India, there has been a lot of chatter about the future of Indians in Canada. So many of us there, right? And where are we headed? International students as a community, where are all of us headed? Because with the rising number of students, international students in the Canadian community, jobs have become all the more important. Now, today is all about focusing on the solutions rather than discussing the challenges. I think 2023 has entirely been about discussing the challenges and the problems. So now we are here together to think about what is it that students need to do to increase their chances of career success, to increase their chances of making sure that in due time, they're able to land where they aim to, where they dream of, right? So we are going to just take a quick look over the numbers of international students and immigrants in Canada who are right now a part of this pool of job seekers, and some policy changes in the last year, which everybody should be aware of. And most importantly, we are going to discuss how career success becomes a very important topic for anybody who's right now in the process of hunting jobs. Now, I will begin with a very quick introduction of who we all are. Now, Arsalan and I, we represent Oneiro Education. We are an end-to-end education consulting, guiding international students to their study abroad destinations for both bachelor's and master's. We've also supported students with test preparation, essay writing, career mapping, and a lot many other services, which help you figure out and navigate your journey abroad. Now I will move on to the introduction of Denny. Now, yeah, some of these admits that we have had in the past 1 year, and a lot of great admits from Canada here, a lot of confidence from a lot of applicants in Canada this year. Arslan, we can move on to the next slide. So I would like to welcome Denny with us here. Thank you so much, Denny. I want you to take a couple of minutes to talk about yourself, Devant, and Kibi. And we can also begin at this point the discussion.
Well, thank you very much, Pooja and Arslan for the invitation. My name is Denis Gravelle. I used to be an associate dean at Seneca, Humber, and Fanshawe College, and always worked in the area of workforce development, skills training, development, international education, bridge training programs for newcomers. And I was able to retire just before COVID. The timing was really, really good. And one of the areas I wanted to concentrate on is how do we help international students stay, work, and succeed in Canada? So we put together a team of talented individuals. 3/4 of them are former international students who are able to provide some very good insights on what international students are looking for if they want to stay in Canada. And we created 2 products. One is called Devant, which is a career development platform that over 32 schools across Canada are using. as well as the Kibi app, which is a job search app that will help you find jobs before you come to Canada. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. And I'll turn it over back to you, Pooja and Arslan, if you have any questions or if you want to start the presentation.
Thank you so much, Denis. So we have included some information about both Devant and KB here. It has been very interesting for both of us to go through both of these products in the last 1 week and explore the kind of solutions that they're providing. One standout feature of KB is that it lets you find jobs on the basis of your location, like you called it earlier in one of the recordings I saw. You called it a Google map for job search, which makes it so important for students. You know, you can find opportunities right where you are placed right now without having to reinvent the wheel and figuring everything out all over. So I've been really impressed with the idea itself, right? Arslan, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that we as counselors come to we halt at, when we say end-to-end services for our students, our work sadly just ends at the point of after we are done with the applications and at the most helping students choose the universities. Now, the biggest challenge that actually starts with students is post that, right? After they have entered college, because it's not a small sphere, right? When they are till the time they are in high school, they've spent 12 years and 13 years, they are in their comfort zone. But when they are moving abroad to Canada or to any part of the world for that matter, right? It becomes very challenging, and you keep hearing about students getting depressed, wanting to change their careers, wanting to come back to the country. Those numbers are not something that counselors in generally are talking about, because that number is also quite big, that there are students who from across the world, they go to universities and are not able to cope. So to find something that helps you through that period of your university, a company, or how Devant has been working with students, it was enlightening to see, and it was really relieving to see that there is support of the kind that is there, and the success rate that we were able to see that students are able to achieve, which is a very big thing. And I think that brings us to the whole point of the webinar. Even when we were having conversations about setting up the whole webinar and everything, the conversation of Canada has been in the past couple of months been very much about the changes, very much about what things have happened, what things are happening, and what predictions people are making. But the biggest thing is that it's more speculation than anything else. People are sitting out from the country and are speculating on the basis of that. So many people are just relying to articles and media, but nobody is talking about what is the solution, because the universities are still the same. UBC is still UBC, Toronto is still Toronto. The quality of education and the market has not changed. So it was disheartening. When we started this conversation, I was just saying that last year so many of our students, on choosing Canada, having plans for Canada for so many years, at the end chose not to go with it because of the whole confusion, more to say than anything else. So this conversation became even more imminent and even more important. That's thus setting the focus of the webinar as well right now, where what exactly should the students be doing when they are entering into that fall season, because post summer break, everyone will be enjoying their summer break right now for June. And the moment it ends, the panic starts, because you enter into the application season. And then the whole conversation about colleges, countries, and everything begins. So I think, Danny, one of the bigger questions right now that I think I would like to start with, and I would like that you give an idea to our audience and to the students who will be viewing this later on as well, what the students sitting in high schools right now who are preparing for their colleges, who are choosing colleges, should be doing to get themselves ready for the market or universities.
Very good question, Arslan and Pooja. I think it's important for your audience to keep in mind that let's take a look at the positive things that are coming out of all the chaos over the last year. The positive things is that Canada needs new immigrants. That has not changed. Canada will be accepting 450,000 new immigrants over the next 3 years. That has not changed. What has changed is that now you need to do a little bit more work before you come to Canada. And one of the areas that you need to focus on is, where are the jobs? So there's a couple of things that I'd like to talk about regarding jobs. I am going to put a link in the chat, and what I see. Okay, there's a link, and we are providing a free Canadian job market report. And this is something that we are going to be providing every 3 months, so that you have a really good idea of where are the jobs, what type of not only where the jobs, what the jobs are, but where are the jobs in Canada, and which programs do you need to choose from when you're making your selection, whether it's a university or college. Which programs do you need to choose to elevate your success in getting employment in Canada? Now, Arslan and Pooja, you've worked in this industry for a number of years. Maybe you can talk about how important that is now, about the job and looking at where the jobs are.
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the things that what you don't hear in the market and don't hear when people are just talking about people not finding jobs is the reason behind it. What are the specializations, or what are the courses students are seeking? And I don't think this is the Canada thing. This is a thing that is happening around the world. The focus is shifting. The focus to certain courses, to certain areas of work, it's shifting, and that's a change that we'll have to adapt. It's not a specific factor. So this is one of the conversations that we keep having with our students as well, Denny, here, is that we need to be more clear and we need to be more focused about what we are going with. You can't be just choosing a country because of its landscapes. You have to be more specific about your market, where the market is. If it is finance, if it is CS, what exactly is it? So I think one thing that you really, you said that you have to be more careful about your selection. You have to be more thorough about it. So that clarity is something that we keep advocating to our students as well. So I think that is one factor I would say is a very important one, irrespective of anything else.
And one thing for the audience to recognize is that every single job in Canada has a code. It's called the National Occupation Code, NOC, N-O-C. And that's how we talk about jobs in Canada. It's by NOC codes. So when you take a look at our Canadian job market report, what we've done is highlighted which occupations are the greatest in demand and forecasted to be in demand over the next number of years, because that gives you an edge. If you're signing up for a program where there is going to be labor market demand, then it makes sense that you're going to be successful if you want to stay, work, and succeed in Canada. But if you pick a program where there is no demand for jobs, well, it stands to reason that you will not be as successful.
Exactly.
So understanding the Canadian job market is going to be key, and I think it has always been there. You guys have been in the business for a long time. You know that the job market has always been there, but I think it's much more prevalent today. It makes more sense today because there are certain sectors in the Canadian economy where there's not enough people doing those jobs, and we need new Canadians to be working in those fields. So that's why the Canadian job market report is going to be key for you to make good decisions with the help of Pooja, with the help of Arslan and their team, on choosing the right program that's going to provide you with the better chance of success. The other thing I'd like to add is the Kibi app is, and it's something Pooja you mentioned, all the jobs that are posted in that app it's called geotagged. So it's based on So you're applying for a job, but you can see where is the job. So it's like going into Google Maps, but instead of looking for a restaurant or looking for a service, what you'll be able to do is to see where the jobs are. Not only can you see the jobs, but if English is your second language, you can translate the actual job posting into whether it's in Hindi, Urdu, Gujarati, so that you can at least take a look and understand in your own language, okay, this is what they're looking for. And the app is actually free. You can download the app today from either the Google Store or the iOS store, and you can start searching for jobs based on location. And one of the things we recognize, and this is what we heard from a lot of international students, is that Canada is big. It's a big country. And when you're looking for jobs, it may look very close on a map, but until you take a look at, within Google Maps and you see where the job is, you can say, well, that job is not close to public transit, or it's not close to where I live, or it's not close to where my aunt and uncle live. So that's why we put together a job search app that's based on geography, as opposed to just seeing the job and say, oh, this looks like an interesting job, and finding out that it's going to take you an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to your job, which is not right. And not only does our app contain full-time jobs, but also part-time jobs. And we also working with a lot of companies across Canada that are looking for international talent. So when you go to the app, you will see their logo. And when you see the logo of the job posting, it just means that that company is already knows that there will be international students applying for those jobs, and they are open to hiring an international student for a lot of internal reasons. It could be because they really like the talent. They want to have young, fresh, international talent working in their organization. So those are the things we brought together on the Kibbe app.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the things that is actually required. So the whole thing that, you need solutions. So I think this becomes a very big solution and help to international students. All right. So I think I would like to move on to one of the other factors that, becomes even more important is upskilling yourself, or what you should be doing when you are in university, so that you are able to actually get those jobs. So it's not just about finding it, but also be ready so that even you are getting, placed in the right places. So I would like you to just, highlight few of the things that Devant does specifically for the students, and why those focuses are important for students to take care of.
What I'm going to say is going to be key for the people on your call. 80% of the jobs in Canada are not advertised. 80% of the jobs in Canada are not advertised. And one would say, well, why? Well, it's because a large number of employers are not big employers. They're called small, medium enterprise, SME. So that's something you need to keep in mind. Over 70% of the companies in Canada are small. They're small businesses, and they do not have the luxury of having talent acquisition people or HR people to post jobs and to review jobs. So they typically do not post on Indeed and Workopolis and all the other websites. So what this means is that if 80% of the jobs are not posted, how does one find a job? Well, it's the very first thing that you have on your slide deck here, networking. You need to network. How does one network? It's through LinkedIn. Canada, by far, is the largest user of LinkedIn for companies to search for talent. And one of the things we do on our Kibbe app is that we bring all the jobs that are LinkedIn into the Kibbe app. So it allows you to search for those jobs that are part of the network. So number one, networking is key for you to find a job in Canada, because the majority of the employers in Canada are small. We don't have the Googles, we don't have the Microsofts of the world. Those are all in the US. But in Canada, we have a lot of businesses, but they're small. They're small, medium enterprise. And you need to network. The best way to network is to be active on LinkedIn. Number two is events. We have a large number of events that are available for you to attend now. So if you go to the Devant website and you look at events, you'll be able to sign up for events from your home country, and you'll be able to start getting a sense of this. These are the things that are important for me to find employment or find a career path that I can do right now in my home country. So we have career fairs, we have networking events in order for you to meet potential employers, because your network is your net worth. Upskilling, those are key. You need to elevate your skills beyond the program. So, for example, if you are in project management, and by the way, project management is an occupation that is high in demand right now. Project management and sales are the top two careers where there's a huge demand in that skill set. So you need to get your certification in PMP. You need to get your certification in sales. So it's important for you to choose programs that provide you not only with the program credential, but also the industry certifications, such as a program project management professional, or the sales or the sales credential. Going down to job boards, we talked about Kibbe. You should be downloading Kibbe and using Kibbe right now. It's free. Also, you need to prepare well, and that is to have a resume customized for each job that you apply. You need to research the organizations. We call that industry research. And you need to also prepare for interviews. And within our platform, we use AI to help you build a resume, a cover letter, a LinkedIn profile, and we also have a AI tool that provides you the ability to do a mock interview. And last is career services. You need to use career services at the school that you are attending. That's one of the first things you should do in your orientation, is say, where is career services, and what services are available to me. So I know it's a lot of things I'm throwing at you, but you've captured everything in this slide. Networking is key. Attending events, upskilling, finding out where your career services is and what can they do for me. The job board, use Kibbe, and you need to prepare yourself ahead of time, so that once you come to Canada, these are the jobs, the part-time jobs I can apply for, and they will contribute to my overall skills, experience, so that I can get a full-time job once I graduate. It's a lot all at once, but I hope you got the message. Pooja and Arslan, back to you.
Yeah. I think you covered up almost all of it, and it is great to understand and to know what exactly is required. I think one of the things that we keep talking about, so it's actually not very different from when you are trying to start off a career in a particular subject, right? You need to think why you are there, or why exactly you're trying to do it, and we need to understand the market is getting difficult because people are upskilling, because the competition is getting harder. So students need to get more, it's not just about your grades. It's not just about one thing or the other. It's literally about the network. I think the whole point can be summarized into one thing that you just said. Network is your net worth, right? So if you're doing just that, I think you get a head start. I think one example that comes to my mind about this, Pooja, you would be able to answer this better. One of the students that we had last year, she got into In fact, she was working with Pooja. Why don't you talk about that, Pooja, for a second?
Right. So, in terms of skilling, in terms of identifying your interest and also being very confident that you want to end up in a certain place, right? So last year in the months of October, November, and December, because there was a lot of activity in the news, we had a string of students completely dropping Canada from their college list, completely changing their admission plans, their application plans in the middle or beyond the middle of the application season. Why? Because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how will we survive. We don't know what is our future there. And for every 5 students who dropped Canada out of their who dropped Canada from their application list, we had 2 students who were very confident that this is what they want to do, who had a lot of clarity regarding what is it that you need to focus on. Do you need to focus on a lot of news about how people are not able to make it, or do you need to have a lot of confidence in your own path? Because I've had a student who has ticked every box that there is on the list to networking with universities as a high schooler. She has taken Olympiads and tests. She has entered competitions and aced them, maintained very good scores. And at the end, despite everything that people were saying, she was able to secure letters of recommendation not only from her school in India and her internship supervisors in India, but she was also able to secure letters from university professors in Canada. And with that, this is a 17-year-old we are talking about who's already opening doors for herself through a lot of networking and basically showing people how interested she is. And with that, she was able to land her dream college, that too with a scholarship. So we see examples like this day in and day out. And then there are a lot of people who are already well connected with families, with friends, with colleagues in Canada, who have a lot of clarity about what that path is for you to get from point A to point B. Unfortunately, if you don't have that insight that is coming directly from somebody who's doing it right there, it becomes very difficult for you to focus on what is right, what is wrong, what is correct, and what is fake. And
Yeah.
that really confuses students. So this year, the reason why we wanted to have this discussion at this point is because in the next month, 1 month, all students for masters and undergrad will be finalizing their college lists, the colleges they aim to apply to. And the attitudes and the perceptions at that point are going to define the next 5 to 10 years of their life. There is no turning point. If you decide to not do something, there's no turning point from that. So it's very important for students to know that this is possible, that it can be done.
Yeah.
You need to have the right information for that.
Yeah, I think Pooja and Danny, both of you just summarized the whole points very clearly. I would say that the whole point of doing all this is basically you need to be informed. You need to be very, very clear of what you're doing. You need to be very thorough with your research. You cannot go with he said and she said. Hearsays are not going to work for you anymore. You can't just end up anywhere and think that okay, fine, we'll work it out. The world has changed and we need to wake up to that. Wake up and smell the coffee. You're not in that world where opportunities were lined up. So you need to make your way. That I think that is one takeaway that I can take from this entire conversation. And we need to be updated because all the negativities. In fact, when I was having conversations with my friends and my circles about the webinar, one of the questions that kept coming again and again, but the Canadian job market is not working. Why are you doing this webinar? And that was the point, because this is what made me even more and more sure that we need to have this conversation. And I want that this webinar becomes one of the first discussions that we have about it, and we can have more of these, because it's important to stay updated. That when you are saying that these XYZ changes have happened, what are the impacts of those changes, and are those changes making any sense? Canada is still very much welcoming to immigrants and still very much welcoming to students. So you have to be very updated about, and not just hear highlights and taglines from news channels and articles and hear it from people, but be more and more aware about where exactly you're putting your time and effort and money. So I think that was one of the biggest takeaways that I'll take from this, and I hope our audiences will be able to take as well. Denny, I would like to move on to a few questions that we got when we were filling up the forms. I think we have covered almost all of it, but there were one or two of the few ones which became a little, something that I thought you'd be able to answer. And I'll open up the channel for people to ask questions as well. Anyone has any questions, they can write it in the chat box. And we'll pick it up if something that we have not covered, right? Okay, so one of the things that I was, while we were writing these questions, I saw this, that I have an offer from someone to help me with LMI, but it's very expensive. What to do? That's one thing that just caught our eye, that people are talking about this. So would you like to shed some light on this particular point?
Yeah, having an LMI is very expensive. I heard of students being charged up to $15,000 Canadian for an LMI. Do you need one? No. What you need to do is to talk to the experts, and the experts are right in front of you. You have Arslan and Pooja. They can save you a lot of money because they are there. They know what's going on in Canada, and they can provide you with a lot of good, worthwhile information. You do not need an LMI in order to get a student visa. The only time you need an LMI is when it is more so it's the employer that needs the LMI, not you. And I will send it back to Arslan and Pooja. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. It does make a lot of sense, because when we talk about Canada and India, I think there are so many back channels and so many not so legitimate areas of entry that people try to talk about, and they charge hefty amounts for it. So because Canada-India relations have been going on for so long, and Indians being in Canada is one of the very, very common factors. So yeah, as Denny said, that this is not something that you should be indulging yourself in. Having a more straightforward path is a better idea, and obviously it's not going to be as expensive as how much people are charging for an EMI, and it's not required. So yeah, definitely makes sense. All right.
I am going to put another link in the chat, if you don't mind,
Sure.
just putting that up on your screen.
Yes.
Okay, if you scroll down, if you go to our website and you go under free events, these are free events that you can access now from your home country. So we have one June the 12th on. If you go down, we just had that event the other day. We have career development Q&A. This is where you can do your research. Ask the experts, and it's free, no cost to you. You can do this from your home country. Next, if you go scroll down, immigration Q&A. We have an immigration lawyer, not an immigration consultant, but an immigration lawyer. We work with Long McGalgie Law here in Toronto. They are recognized throughout Canada as being the premier immigration law firm. And Elizabeth Long has been doing a lot of our webinars the last number of years, and she will be talking about immigration pathways. So this is a free event that you should be attending. Again, it's do your research. If you go down, we will have some more free events for you to join throughout the month. And like Arslan said and Pooja reiterated, you need to do your research, and the best way to do research is to access information not only through Pooja and Arslan, but also through our website.
Yeah, it's important that you talk to the experts and you visit these events. It's compulsory to be able to make your mind clear about where you are headed and what exactly you're trying to do. So yeah, definitely this adds to the whole point of doing your research and figuring out why you are trying to do what you're trying to do. All right, I'd like to open up questions for anybody who would have anything that we did not discuss or would like to ask in something in particular. Please write it down in the chat box. I'll try to bring it up with Denny, and we'll try and answer it.
I'd like to take on, there's the bullet number 3. Few family members and some friends had to come back. We keep hearing about immigrants leaving Canada due to no jobs. What is the success rate at Devant? Okay, there's a couple of things there. Immigrants leaving Canada due to no jobs. I think they're leaving Canada because of housing
Yeah.
is number one, and two, because they're in the wrong. They're looking for jobs in the wrong cities. Like if you go to large urban centers like Vancouver, Toronto, um, there are a lot of jobs, but it's very expensive to live. So this is where research is important. I think
Yeah.
my own personal observation is that immigrants are leaving Canada not because of due to no jobs, but because they didn't do their research and they went to areas in Canada where it's very expensive to live, and they did not have enough money saved up in order to support themselves through the job search process. The other reason why they're leaving Canada due to no jobs is because they didn't do their research before they even came to Canada. You
Yeah.
need to look, if getting a job in Canada is important to you, you need to not only select the right school, the right program, but also select the right program that has very good job prospects. But also you need to look at how can I network before I graduate? Because this is the problem that I see. Students come to Canada. Yes, they want to get a good grade, but a good grade will not get you a job.
Exactly.
What you have to do is have in the back of your mind, okay, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to get a good grade, but I'm also going to do my research, because being in school is a great time for you to do your research. You're going to be interacting with professors who work in the industry. Ask them, where are the jobs? What else do I need? Do I need some additional credentials once I graduate? So you should be looking at your career development while you're in school. Do not wait until you graduate. And that's why immigrants leaving Canada due to no jobs is because they didn't do the research. And now they're faced with a situation, I don't have any more money. I have to go back to my home country. What is the success rate of Devant? We do not guarantee you a job. Nobody can guarantee you a job.
Exactly.
You have to do the work. If you do the work, you're going to have a high success rate. All we can do is help you become successful. We cannot make you successful. So it's a great question, and I wanted to make sure that I provided a little bit of background. Did this echo with you, Pooja and Arslan?
Oh, yes, definitely. So we were going to run through this, and it does make a lot of sense that we are able to. Pooja, you were saying something.
One of the biggest problems is that a lot of students are being promised jobs. That is the root of the problem. Getting promises of jobs, and you end up paying so much for them, and you end up doing things that you don't want to do. And it is such a big distraction from the real work that you need to do to secure yourself a good offer. So it's very, very important that we all, unanimously make this very clear as study abroad consultants, as independent counselors, and as business owners, that there is no shortcut to finding jobs. And if anybody is promising you that they can find you and promise you a job, I think you need to run in the other direction.
Definitely.
And
All
run
right,
fast. And run fast, right, Pooja?
Yes. Yes. All right. I'll just cover up the rest of the questions here. If there is something that then you would like to answer, we can go ahead with it. But I think we have covered these. What kind of seminars and networking opportunities? I think Denny was able to show the kind of webinars and seminars that you should be attending. If you are in Canada, maybe if there are happening more in-person events, or if you're doing it in India as well, to be more sure about, what kind of college fairs that you should be attending. These are the things that you should be going, and it's all going to start. Summer is sometime when these things are actually going to start. So start looking out, and I think LinkedIn is the best place to look for these things. Every kind of event, every kind of seminar that is happening online, offline, whatsoever. LinkedIn is the holy grail to this. I think one of the factors that whenever I get a student, whenever I'm working with a student and we start the whole counseling process, the first question I ask them, do you have a LinkedIn? And before we begin with anything, we first make the LinkedIn account. That you need to work on LinkedIn. It's not about having millions of followers. It's about being out there, talking about and showing your interest. Because we saw this in US applications as well last year, that so many colleges, this is not something that was talked about very openly, but we did see that so many colleges and business schools, for example, they started looking at LinkedIn profiles of the students, those who are applying. That if you're talking about these great things that you're doing on your applications, is it actually true? Because everyone goes to LinkedIn now. So many universities are just looking at, so not just for that factor of your job search and everything, but also for your applications and other factors as well. LinkedIn has become one of the most important platforms there is. So everyone needs to have that, right? Specific skills will enhance my profile. I think this is a more directed questions to course, because other than when we talk about CS, it'll be different. When we talk about finance, it'll be different. So I think a little more research that is required on your major that you're trying to do, and what kind of skills. And as Denny was talking about the sales and product management that is there in Canada. So something, if you are interested towards that direction, then be more specific about your skills in those. Right.
And what's really important there, Arsan and Pooja, is that employers are looking for skills from your home country. Just because you come from India doesn't mean that you don't have any skills. You have skills. And you need to be able to be proud of the skills that you gained while living and going to school in India. The other thing employers are looking for is evidence. It's good to say, I worked in project management for 3 years in my home country, and I worked for the largest employer in Gujarat. Employers don't know where Gujarat is, and they say, okay, what evidence do you have that you're a good project manager? So you need to have evidence. So it's okay to say I have the skill, but you also have to say, this is what I did, and this is the contribution I did for this organization, which is one of the largest organizations in Gujarat, and put a link, to their website, so employers can see, oh yes, it is a large company.
Yeah, becomes extremely important, definitely.
Yep.
All right, I think we have a question. Ayushi, you have your hand up.
Yes, yeah. Hello. So I just had one question that so I am somebody who's a policy student or a policy professional, but given the fact that a development sector or a policy sector is very different in compared to other sectors. So and you hardly see like any attractive opportunities as well. And it's also very difficult to find time for networking. So what would be your advice in terms of like what are the right steps to find time for networking and also get your access to better opportunities and move forward?
All right, Ayushi, I think that question, Denny, would you like to take that? Yeah.
Sure. You have to find time.
Yes,
the bottom line is that you have to find the time, and to me, networking is as important as getting a good grade. And you need to sacrifice maybe the amount of studying that you do. I'm not saying that you don't want to get a good grade, but you need to study, but also carve out some time to say, I am going to do some networking. And networking is fairly easy. Attend one networking session every 2 weeks. It's not a lot to ask, but it's something that is important. So work on your grades, but also say, hey, networking is important for my future, and you have to make the time.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying, right? You have to have that part of your entire work that you're doing for your college. You need to be including the networking part into it, because it's equally important. It's not just about your grades, but other factors as well. All right, I think we have one more. Okay, Ayushi just says, okay, this makes more sense. All right, Ayushi. If there are more questions, you guys can write it down on the chat box till the time we're trying to cover up whatever we have here. All right, how to get scholarships to do engineering in bachelor's in Canada. All right, so I think scholarship question, I'd like to, Pooja, would you like to take this one?
Right, sure. So scholarships, again, a very popular topic for discussion. So the first thing right now that you need to start doing is going through the requirements. There are a lot of resources available. There is a lot of information available. Canada, fortunately, has very attractive full scholarship grants as well. And like if you have the time for it, if you give the right number of hours to it, it is possible to meet the requirements of these scholarships, and you stand a chance to actually crack those. Now, for that, of course, it's going to take a lot of preparation. All colleges across the world that are offering these opportunities are looking for students who are in the top 1% of their respective classes, because you're also getting a top 1% sort of an opportunity here, studying in a top 50 ranked college on a scholarship. So that becomes extremely important, that you give the right amount of time to it. First of all, understand all the requirements, keep your grades up, and Canada is going to focus very heavily on your board scores. So those are instrumental. Those are almost a qualifying criteria, I would say, for scholarships. Second, you need to demonstrate interest. You need to demonstrate that you're very clear about this course. That should reflect in your essays and that should reflect in your activities. So you need to tell a story. And you get only 1 or 2 chances of doing this, because the essays are going to be very direct. The essays are going to ask you very specific questions about your motivations and your background. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind. We also keep sharing a lot of resources on our Instagram, on our LinkedIn from time to time, for students to have the necessary awareness about these opportunities. So in short, that's the way for you to go.